All right, so, excuse me. I'm going to take a quick drink of water. Sorry to start this lesson this way, but we're going to talk a little bit about the dual filter in the filter bank in Wavetable. So let me grab a quick drink of water here. And again, I apologize. I didn't mean to start the lesson with a quick pause, but I'd rather do this than start a recording over. So. All right. We are up and running. So let me zoom in to the filter area and the filter bank right here. Put the mouse, I'm trying to get used to this zoom throughout this lesson or throughout this course. So if things aren't working out perfectly, I apologize, but I'm doing the best I can for you. All right, that doesn't look too pixeled. So here we've got filter 1 and filter 2. Filter 2 is currently turned off, so let's look at filter 1. And in our drop down here, we've got different shapes. So we've got low pass, high pass, band pass, notch, and morph. So let's play a sound here and take a listen to what we've got. And then you've got your low pass, and then we've got our frequency adjustment right here. And we've got our morph. And morph, what that's going to do is allow us to move through, the multiple high pass, low pass, band pass, notch. It's going to take us through all the different shapes and frequency areas. So morphing, though, what you notice is because we're on morph, it's only going to give us one other filter emulation, I guess is the best term I can come up with. And that's the OSR. But that's only because we're on morph. So if we go off of morph, say we go back to this guy, now we've got different emulations and different filter types available to us. So, and word to the wise, just like in the previous tutorial we were talking about how the unison and the voices and things really tax the CPU, I typically stay with the clean within the synth. You can experiment with these to taste if you get bored with one or something, but these will start to perform and create different demands within and without and on your CPU is what I'm trying to say is, some of those different filter types can be a little taxing to the CPU, just a word to the wise. And now here we've got, of course, our different poles, 12 and 24, so we can have a little bit steeper shape there. So pretty cool stuff. And as you may have noticed, we've got a resonance notch right here, control. And of course, these guys can be assigned to be modulated with any of our 5 different modulation sources, envelopes, and LFOs. So again, that's further down. Just want to continue to remind you that we can, if you're wondering, assign those to be modulated. So as you may have noticed, we looked at filter 1, but what makes this really unique is that it's a dual filter option. So I'm talking about some really powerful stuff that we can do here to shape our sounds. Now we've got frequency 2 and resonance 2 available to us, so you can see how we can really start to, notch out some unique sounds here. Really, really cool. So what's going on currently, though, is oscillator 1 and oscillator 2 are running in serial as a default. So what that means is all the sound is coming into filter 1 and then being routed out through filter 2. So into filter 1, out through filter 2. That's the serial. You see, kind of just follow the diagram here. 1 filter, 2 filters, and the line going straight through them. But what we do is we have 2 other options. We can run in parallel. So running in parallel splits at 50-50 basically. Oscillator 1 will be going through filter 1 at 50%, and oscillator 2 will be going through filter 2 at 50%. And now they're running side by side 50-50. So let's experiment with that sound. And you can see now that you can start to shape, you know, you can have like a really high pass on one side and a low pass on the other side. You can start to really shape that sound, you know, pretty strongly. So a lot of flexibility there. So, and then our next option here that gets kind of fun to work with and interesting to think about is the split option. So the split option is, let me move these around and get some sound coming from us. The split option is taking oscillator 1 and dedicating it specifically to filter 1, and oscillator 2 100% to filter 2. So now instead of being 50-50, they each have their own dedicated filters. So filter or oscillator 1, filter 1, oscillator 2, which, you know what, it would probably help if I would turn it on here. So let's go up here and get that guy going. So now I've got them both going. So oscillator 2, it's got its own filter. Oscillator 1, it's got its own filter. So that's the split option. Now, what you may be wondering is, so what happens if I have the sub oscillator on and I'm in the split format or the split arrangement? Well, what happens with the sub is 50% goes to filter 1 and 50% goes to filter 2. So the sub will get divided 50-50, but the actual oscillators themselves are dedicated 100% to each. Hopefully I'm explaining that well enough that it makes sense to you. I wish there was a, you know, a way to diagram that out for you, but oscillator 1 completely dedicated to filter 1, oscillator 2 completely dedicated to filter 2, the sub oscillator 50% here, 50% there. So that is the filter bank within the Wavetable synth here in Ableton Live 10. So a lot of really, really cool ways to begin to shape your sound and really, you know, get in there and make something sound amazing. So be mindful of the filter bank within the Wavetable. Let's go ahead and move on and explore some more features within the synth. Oh, I keep doing that, darn it. This is, like I said earlier, this Zoom is a little new to me as far as doing it within the tutorials. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on.